What's up, y'all? Doug Devils here again. Week 2 of the Top 5 Fridays. Um, Great series, first and foremost. Definitely check out the peeps below. Got them listed again. Links. Got a lot of homies on this. Um, Shouts out again to Jerry and the homie JP for their ideas and throwing it out there. Throwing out a couple ideas. I know Derek's throwing out ideas. We got the Schroyer brothers involved. Good things, so really digging the series. This is my 5th beer, so I will try to keep the slurs to a minimum. I'm a lightweight. I'm no moods. But yeah. Anyways, today's theme, this week's theme is directorial debuts, and of course, we're gonna try to keep that horror related on this channel. Check out Cinema Attack if you want to see my thoughts on other genres of film. Which the little self-promotion for us guys, we got the top 10 2017 going to get recorded this weekend, so looking hella forward to that. Been binge watching a hell lot of 2017 films. But yeah, little quick shout out, recommendation, whatever, honorable mention. That is House of a Thousand Corpses, Rob Zombie. Amazing debut overall. This is definitely one of those themes where I'm going to look back on and be like, damn, how did I forget so-and-so? Or why did I leave that out? Or, I know it is, because I'm doing most of this off the top of the head. I did some mild research on this, but I know for a fact, I'm pretty sure I'm probably leaving out somebody. I'm like, damn, how did I leave that guy out? But it is what it is. I feel very comfortable with the list I've compiled. One of my favorite modern directors. I want to check out his newest film, The Shape of Water. So if that doesn't give it away, you should know who it is. Guillermo del Toro's directorial debut of Cronos. The fact that your directorial debut is released by the Criterion Collection, that should tell you a lot. Fucking amazing vampire film. And another fact, I'm not the biggest vampire guy in the world. There is some fantastic ones that I would probably even throw in my top, 50 all time. But it's not my favorite subgenre. And this is making my top 5 right here. So, Cronos. Just amazing how, it's pretty realistic on its approach to it. I mean, this is before he got into too much of a fantasy aspect of his films, which I do love the fantasy fairy tale style he does. But this is a pretty realistic approach that kind of Martin-esque in a way. Of course, George Romero's Martin. Really solid stuff, guys. Amazing performances from Ron Perlman. I'm forgetting like one of the main vampires, or one of the main actors' names in this. He's featured in The Strain. Like the you'll just have to check out that show. And I know he was in Jumanji as like the hunter guy. You probably know who I'm talking about. Gives a great performance in that. And number 4, I don't have the copy on me, but of course I do own my collection. This is one from my VHS renting days, which makes me feel old even saying that. As a young horror fan, getting into all the main franchises, Friday the 13th, Freddy, and of course the Halloween franchise. So I was going through the Halloween franchise early days, and I hated this film. I just didn't care for it, man. It was not what I expected. But boy, how I've came around on that film over the years. And that, of course, is Part 3, Halloween Part 3, Season of the Witch. Tommy Lee Wallace, who's a very underrated director in my opinion, has a pretty solid filmography under his belt. But yeah, Halloween 3 just captures that Halloween vibe, the season vibe. It doesn't have that Michael Myers vibe, which is probably why I didn't care for it originally. I didn't know what I was going into. But if you look at it as a standalone horror film, kind of try to disassociate it from the Michael Myers and the whole Halloween franchise itself, you will fucking love it, man. It's fantastic, great gore effects, amazing soundtrack. You still got Carpenter's hands in it. And if you know kind of the backstory, John Carpenter kind of wanted to do something similar to this. He wanted to do like separate tales, kind of take different little approaches to each one of the Halloween films and do, he was wanting to make a Halloween 3. It was kind of his dream film, and then just You know, it wasn't all supposed to be Michael Myers. He was going to do like a different approach to each Halloween film, which I think is cool and just makes it even cooler and a respectable, hella respectable directorial debut. This one is from a great writer. Um, you know, this is a classic. Most horror fans should know this, and I'm guaranteed they do. And that is, of course, Hellraiser. This is the Anchor Bay Blu-ray 2-pack. Clive Barker, man, just such a dark, eerie atmosphere to this film. Crazy like folklore and mythos to this, and you know, of course, no pun intended. No pun intended. It has the hell aspects going on in this film. Um, but yeah, and just iconic characters, of course, with Doug Bradley's interpretation of Pinhead, and all the Cenobites. Just fantastic, great shit. Just the sexual overtones of the S&M stuff, great stuff. All right, so number 2, we have my favorite horror director of all time, who actually influenced Guillermo del Toro and numerous other, I think, more modern horror directors. And this is, I actually own the couple of versions of this, but I have the Arrow release right here, limited edition of The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, part 1 of the Animals trilogy of Dario Argento. Definitely, more of a giallo, but I think I've come around on that too. I believe giallo is definitely a subgenre of horror, so has your kind of murder mystery stuff going on here. And just fantastic, man. The cinematography and the overall story and the mystery aspect. What a hell of a way to, start out your direction. That's just fantastic, man. And much more I can say about that one. Just it's such a classic giallo, and it's crazy that's his first film. Just coming out of the gates running. And speaking of that, you got number 1 here. And I'd be hard pressed to see this. This is going to be on everybody's list and probably everyone's number 1 or at least their top 3s. Just legendary shit. One of the just one of the most classic and iconic horror films of all time. One of my all-time favorites. Watch it every year. The Night, or just Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero. Social commentary, done so perfectly. This is what I love about social commentary. It's done so just subtle and like kind of got to read between the lines with it. It's not forced down your throat, but it's definitely there. And it just set up the whole zombie genre as we know it. It's not the first zombie film of all time, but it's the most groundbreaking and trend-setting zombie film of all time. Fucking just fantastic, fantastic horror classic, The Night of the Living Dead. And yes, that is George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead for number 1. And yeah, so look out for y'all peeps next week. Peace. Appreciate y'all watching.